What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. Everybody loves the new Overwatch Heroes. They freshen up the game, help expand the story, and are easily the most hype-inducing kind of new content. So, where's the next one? They missed their originally anticipated release window, and now are left to wonder, where the heck is Hero 32? Well, in this video, I'm going to cover why Hero 32 was delayed, when we might actually end up seeing them release, who they're most likely to be, and whether or not they'll really be the last new hero before the launch of Overwatch 2. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, for those of you who keep track of when we typically see new Overwatch Heroes release, you'll know that we would have expected Hero 32 to release at the beginning of November during this most recent BlizzCon. That would have matched the content release cycle we've seen over the years, but lo and behold, there was no new hero. Sure, we had Sojourn announced for Overwatch 2, but no new hero was announced or released for Overwatch 1. The reason for this is that Blizzard was too focused on getting a presentable playable demo of Overwatch 2 ready in time for the event. Because of this, they likely weren't able to get Hero 32 finished in time for a BlizzCon release, but even if they had, they likely still wouldn't have actually shown them off. For one thing, the Overwatch 2 announcement in and of itself was so grand, overwhelming, and, well, in a lot of ways confusing to many people, that tacking on the announcement of a new Overwatch 1 hero as well would have just been diminishing returns. There is such a thing as announcing too much new content, so Blizzard probably had to make the conscious decision to push back Hero 32 so that there wouldn't be, well, too much shown off at BlizzCon 2019. In the end though, BlizzCon just ended up leaving us with a ton of hype, but not much to do for the time being. All we know now then regarding future heroes for Overwatch 1 is that, according to the devs, there will be at least one more hero released before the launch of Overwatch 2. While this is a rather vague statement from them and technically could mean that several new heroes will release, I sadly think that it's most likely just going to be one. If Blizzard planned to have 2 or more heroes released before the sequel, they would have said so. Or at the very least, they would have emphasized the plural aspect to hype people up for the idea of multiple new heroes. The fact that they only confirmed the existence of one new hero coming means they probably only have one new hero. Saying at least one new hero is basically business slang for, we want you to get excited for the possibility of multiple heroes without committing ourselves to releasing more than just the one. With Blizzard having only promised to release that one hero, in addition to the fact that they are clearly stockpiling as much new content as possible to maximize the hype upon Overwatch 2's release, it's basically guaranteed that Hero 32 will in fact be the sole and final new hero released before the sequel. You're welcome to get your hopes up for more, but I strongly advise against it. So then, with one new hero to be released before Overwatch 2, when can we expect them to get added? More than anything, this will actually depend specifically on when Overwatch 2 ends up releasing. In order to minimize the amount of downtime between major content additions, Blizzard will likely aim to release Hero 32 about halfway between now and the release of the sequel. Unfortunately though, we don't know when Overwatch 2 is going to release. However, we do know that it's still at least a whole year away. This is evident because amidst all the talk about the game at BlizzCon 2019, the devs never so much as mentioned a year for when they expected it to release. And when it comes to marketing, if the game you're announcing is expected to be out within the next year, you say so in the announcement. As exciting as it was to finally see and hear official details regarding Overwatch 2, it would have been even more exciting if they had followed up the announcement with a big ol' coming 2020. The absence of so much as an anticipated year for the game's release means that internally, Blizzard isn't planning on it being out before the end of 2020. So this leaves us with early 2021 being the absolute earliest best case scenario for when we'll actually see the sequel launch. It will definitely suck having to wait that long for the next Overwatch game, but what does this mean when it comes to the release of Hero 32? Well, as I said, the next hero is likely going to be spaced out between the announcement of Overwatch Overwatch 2 and its release. So, going by the best case scenario timeframe of the sequel's release being early 2021, we might expect to see Hero 32 release around the middle of 2020. Although, to be honest, I have a sneaking suspicion that it'll be even a bit earlier than that. You see, regardless of when Overwatch 2 releases, we can expect a release date announcement and a pretty substantial amount of marketing hype for at least a few months prior to it launching. This pre-release hype buildup will likely show off some of the new maps, heroes, and other content that'll come with Overwatch 2, meaning that, in a sense, the start of pre-release hype itself could be seen as the point that Hero 32 is going to be spaced out from. Remember, this all comes down to maximizing community excitement by spacing out the release of hype-inducing content. If Overwatch 2 releases in early 2021, then we'll likely see its build-up hype begin around BlizzCon 2020, so next November. I strongly suspect that we'll at least get a release date announced for the game here, if not sooner, so let's just mark November 2020 as when we might start seeing the build-up hype begin for Overwatch 2's release. On the flip side, rather than looking at BlizzCon 2019 as the starting point, a more accurate point in time from which to space out Hero 32's release would actually be the release of Sigma, who hit live servers back in August. I think it's fair to say that he was the most recent major new content addition for Overwatch 1, so now we have a window of time spanning from August 2019 to November 2020, and right in the middle seems to be a prime time for Blizzard to release the next hero, which means around March or April could very well be when we see them revealed. In fact, given that April is the month during which we normally get the Overwatch Archives event, what if Blizzard used this story-based event as a way of introducing the new hero? Jeff Kaplan has already confirmed that there won't be a new PvE mission for Archives 2020, so considering this in conjunction with how it lines up with my speculated Hero 32 release, I think there's a very real possibility that this is how they'll handle it, especially if the new hero is someone crucial to the Overwatch story, which I'll be getting to in just a moment. I could see Blizzard doing something similar to how they handled Sigma's release, where the Summer Games event started about a week before he hit the Overwatch PTR, or alternatively, Hero 32 could be revealed and put on PTR in late March, and then be ready to hit live servers in April at the same time as the event. Unfortunately, it's just impossible to pin down exactly what they're going to end up doing, but if there is going to be just the one new hero released between now and Overwatch 2, which again seems very likely to be the case, Archives 2020 seems like a pretty realistic and logical time for them to make that release. That does also unfortunately still mean we're going to have to wait a bit then for the next new hero, and we won't be getting them nearly as soon as if we were still on the regular 3 heroes a year cycle, but with just how much resources Blizzard is piling into Overwatch 2, we're just gonna have to kind of accept, I guess, that there's not going to be a whole ton of new content over the next year or so. Now, let's move on and talk about who Hero 32 is going to be. If you've ever looked into Overwatch at all, then you probably already have a pretty good idea of who Hero 32 is most likely going to be, and that is, of course, Echo. People have been speculating about Echo for over a year at this point. We know for a fact that she is going to be a new hero, and we even saw her extensively not only in the most recent animated short shown off at BlizzCon 2019, but even within the playable demo for the new PvE. However, despite the previous confirmation of her one day joining the roster and all this focus she's gotten recently, Blizzard has been bizarrely mysterious about how and when exactly she's going to make it into the game. There's been a lot of speculation going back and forth about whether she's going to be an Overwatch 1 hero, or is she going to be one of the many Overwatch 2 heroes we know are going to be coming. But personally, I think it's just about guaranteed that she is in fact going to be the final new hero before the release of Overwatch 2. I mean, if you look at other similarly anticipated heroes, such as Sojourn, she was very specifically acknowledged as being a new hero coming to Overwatch 2. However, Echo was shown off just as much as Sojourn, but didn't actually get that same sort of acknowledgement. Blizzard didn't confirm or deny whether she was going to be one of the new Overwatch 2 heroes like Sojourn will be, which immediately seems a bit suspicious to me, and likely means that she won't be an Overwatch 2 hero, in that she's actually going to release beforehand. If you want even more evidence to suggest this plan for Echo, in a recent interview with Game Informer, Jeff Kaplan had this to say when asked about Echo.
What's up, up with Echo?
Players are going to learn a lot more about her in the road leading up to Overwatch 2.
Now maybe it's just me, but I kind of feel like him saying we're going to learn more about her leading up to Overwatch 2 likely means that she's going to release before Overwatch 2. Now, technically, learning more could just mean, oh, we're going to get a short story that talks more about her, or maybe even a comic, or maybe she's going to have some sort of further cameo somewhere. It's not technically guaranteed that she's going to be the new hero before Overwatch 2, but at this point, I think it's very, 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 very likely to be the case. And Blizzard themselves are clearly putting a lot of emphasis on this character and showing that she's going to have some important role in the future of Overwatch, so I still think it's very safe to say that Echo will in fact be Hero 32, but then again, you never know. Maybe Blizzard is gonna pull a classic Blizzard move and surprise us with some random hero we've never seen or heard of before, and Echo will continue to be this mysterious character that we know very little about and we'll just have to keep waiting for. I doubt it though. I'm still very convinced Hero 32 will be Echo based on all the information we have about her, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. When do you think we're gonna see Hero 32 release? Do you think that Archives 2020 is a prime time for the new hero? And do you agree that the new hero is most likely going to be Echo? Or maybe you've got thoughts about somebody else who might be a better candidate? Either way, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit up the bell to never miss any of my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.